I'm going to go over a couple tickers. First up is ASTS. You are looking at the chart on the 5-minute time frame. This is where we ended at 9:02, up more than 69%. Congratulations if you made some money off of this trade today. So this is where we ended. To the north side takes us to 925, right at 2 standard deviations, and we are basically at resistance, and you know what happens there. The next level is 999 and 1077. To the south side, back at the middle of the trend, and VWAP as well. I have turned that on. That's 777. To the south side of that, 621. A gap forms to the south side starting at 566. Negative 3 standard deviations is 543. And that gap closes to the south side at 532. And the target after that would be roughly 466 at negative 4 standard deviations. Also another level of support. I will anticipate a bounce definitely at this line, and throughout this gap, and this line as well. So this is VWAP. This is the upper band and the lower band. So if you are playing the VWAP, then you would typically, people like to buy in at the middle there of the line, or support will touch the green line, and then I will also anticipate a bounce off of that. And I like to play, again, within -2 and 2 standard deviations. So I've turned that on for myself, and you can see I've turned on the bot as well, and you can see the buy and sell signals with the bot. And if you are using that, you will get in and out more often with your trades. You're definitely getting more buy and sell signals. I like to play it slower and do longer swing trades. But you can see the sell-off here, here, and here at resistance. People taking their profits, they're locking in, and they are leaving. And unfortunately, when you pull out, looking at the bigger picture, we also have a gap to the south side starting at 306 and 240. But we are in an upward channel, moving farther away from this gap and this gap. So just keep in mind, though, that when we rest and come back down, this could potentially close. But if you extend this out, again, not in the channel, not in the zone just yet until we start going sideways, then possibly if we go down, would we touch this? Now, it's been a very long time since I have looked at this stock, and I looked at it back in, what was that? In 2021, June of 2021, I was looking at it for a trade, and I did not get in, and then I stopped looking at it. How do I, Oh, there it is. I'm going to change it to white so I can see it just a little bit better. But clearly, this is a fall from, look at this, break of from 1250 to 1350. So I marked out 1250 here, and we're at 902. And that's down 26% there roughly. And from this high, clearly the bot told you to sell as well. But I would also know when to sell if we hit resistance on the linear. Let me take this magnet off so it's easier to hit my target. So from there to there is a fall from grace, down 92% there. And now I want to go over to my favorite stock, Apple. This is a look at it on the daily. Since I'm here, I just want to show this to you. This is my largest individual holding. So when the market tanks overall, my overall portfolio falls, but even if it fell 50%, I'd be way ahead of the game and still in the green. I have done fantastic with Apple. But from looking at the chart, you can see this is a buy line, and a buy line. Buy, buy, buy. On the daily, we are going in an upward channel. The last time I bought this was probably in the 140s. I stopped buying this because I have so many shares. But back in 2022, when I just looked at the tip ranks and the stock analysis chart to see where they thought we were going, we're at 158, average 192, and average 187, and we're at 190. We're kind of getting whipped around. The 1 year price target is now 203. But this was in my gap and go trades. You can see if you've watched any of those videos, I mark out the weeks with the white line, and I've stopped because the gap that I was tracking closed out, filled to the upside, so I stopped looking at it and charting it for you guys. But I look at this almost every day for myself since I'm heavily invested. But we do have a gap all the way down here to 96.17. I don't think we're going to get there. I think those days are long gone. But we do have other gaps to the south side. I need to clean up these gaps because those gaps have closed, as well as these gaps. But now let's take this over to the 5 minute where I like to give you price action. You can see me marking everything out. We're at 190.29. You can just use the arrow up and down to get there, or double tap on this. Well, if you double tap, then you go to coordinates and then mark it in yourself. All right, we're at 190.29, up barely nothing. The day's low, 189.51. The day's high, 192.25. This is where we are. This is considered support. I will anticipate a bounce off of that. Check the RSI as well. That gives you great information. To the middle of the trend, it takes us to 191.94, 193.67. Don't hold your breath. 194.57 from where we are. I don't think that's going to happen. You never know, though. We could hit a wick, and if we do, it'll get sold right back down. And let me move this down. 195.47. To the south side, at one level of support, 189.31. 188.40. This gap forms to the south side at 188.20, taking us down to 186.99. And again, there are other gaps, but we are not in the channel, not in the zone. Let me just extend that since I don't know when it's going to touch. And there are other gaps, but I'm not going to bother to talk about it. It's a waste of time unless you're buying something so far out and doing options. But I'm just giving you price action for the next day. That's all I can do. Note the clear buy signal at support. We are at the middle of the trend here, fell back down, made another run, and then eventually made our way back up here to 3 standard deviations, and you know what happens at resistance. I never expect price to get to 4 standard deviations, and if it does, for me, that is going to the moon. You better get out if you're trying to get in and out and capture your gains. Unless you're obviously riding it and letting it ride to wherever your out is, or long-term investing. So I anticipate, again, a bounce off of this, but it could go down to here and then a buy-in. And if it goes to here, there will be a buy-in until, we go back up and then go back down to close this out possibly. But we are going farther away from this gap on the 5 minute time frame. We are in an upward channel, thank goodness. Then look at all your sell signals there. Okay, that's a look at ASTS and Apple. And just for giggles, since I'm here, I have about 250 stocks in the watch column under the Vanguard Total Stock Market. You can just buy the fund like I have, or you can break it out yourself and then just trade what's in here. If it's good enough for Vanguard, it's good enough for me. I don't do the fundamental analysis. I let them do it, and I just use their information. So Uber is at $64.93, up 2.22%. The 1 year price target, $88.14. I've talked about this stock many times in the past as well. right? To the north side, resistance 65.24, 65.75, 66.28. Back at VWAP takes us to 64.54. I don't like to buy high and then pray that it goes higher. That is not the trader that I am. So I do not buy high to try to go higher. I don't care about that price action. I want to get it down here if possible and then be in it for longer. That's my strategy. It's much slower, but I will anticipate a bounce off of VWAP and then here as well and then here if you're using that as your support and resistance. Okay, middle of the trend, I got sidetracked. 64.21, 63.18, 62.65, 62.13. Your buy signal, your sell signal. Clear sell, sell, sell. If it's up here and we're going down here, this turns into support and then a bounce off of that. Now, the other one I want to take a look at, because I don't care about the runners, I'm selling out. If I do have an interest in something, I'm looking at stocks that have tanked. So this one, VLO, which I've talked about many times in the past as well, ended the day at 155.69, down 4.82%. The 1 year price target is 184.24, which represents an 18% return from where we are. And this is where we landed at the bottom of the channel on VWAP. But to the north side is a VWAP. So we've got the post and then we've got the VWAP. VWAP is 157.09, although I'm not sure why that's not showing up. So the middle of the trend and from where we are is resistance. So we got to break through this level. It's going to take a couple attempts and then hopefully run up and close this out. So this is at 158.04, the upper channel, 158.52. The gap forms at roughly 2 standard deviations. 162.26 closes out at 163.40, 164.25, and the next target, which we will not get to on Thursday, 166.39. There's no way, but with a wick, things can happen, but it's not going to stay up there. Now to the south side, 153.85, 151.77, and 149.67. Looking left, your buy signals, sell because this on the way up turns into resistance, and then we're just grinding sideways. And what I would also do is draw a line. This is the middle of the trend where I like to look at price targets and not VWAP, but I like to put it up just for fun sometimes. But I'm doing this so that you guys can see that if you're not used to it. Let me change this color out. So this will be my middle of the trend. So I anticipate price to go down. And if we're down, this will turn into resistance as well. We could grind along here or just follow this down until we eventually bounce back up. I will show you this. Let me look at this on the monthly and see what's going on. So when I looked at this a long time ago, I looked at it there and here. Let me make this a little bit bigger. So note your sell-off here at resistance. And it's hard to see because when I do the standard deviations on the monthly, now that TradingView has changed its calculations for the linear, everything gets wonky. I don't like it. It drives me batty. I like the old way that they did it. This to me sucks, but it's still useful. 184.19 to the upside, and from where we are to the south side, one target would be 143.31 as a buy-in. Again, that target's 184.24. So that takes me to 183.60. You don't need an analyst to tell you where we're going. The chart will tell you everything you need to know. You can just make your own forecasting. Will we get there? Who knows? But if you do your fundamental analysis, you can kind of come up with it as well. But I don't do that. I leave that up to the experts. And I am not an expert. Don't even listen to what I say. Half the stuff I say doesn't probably even make sense, but it works for me. And that's why people say you have to trade your own style. Whatever style works for you is good for you. I cannot trade using one example. Moving like the 200 moving average. I know you buy when things are down there. You can get a deal, but I don't even look at that. I don't look at candles. I don't do anything. I just look at where my price points are going to hit the next movement, and that's it. That's how basic I am. I'm a very basic trader. But that's it. That's a look at ASTS, Apple, Uber, and Valero. Have a great trading day.